and welcome to Precisely Nowhere. So happy to be back. The episodes have been coming out later than usual some weeks because it has been a very busy time in my 9 to 5, which is a blessing. And finding time for myself and really when I have enough energy to work on my creative passions outside of work has been harder and more challenging lately, but I am powering through. Doing it mostly because, well, I'm powering through because I love this podcast and I love the how it's helping me grow as a person. And as much as I would love to stick to a consistent schedule every week, I am giving myself grace to falter because I also need to take care of my mental health and take time to do nothing, take trips to IKEA, still work on the making this my new space in California a home. And it's been a year, which I know I've mentioned, I think, on every episode recently, unintentionally in some, but it's been a year since I've moved. I'm still taking my time with decorating. I love interior design and decorating, but there has been a lot going on consistently. So it has taken me longer to decorate. And I am mentally telling myself right now that that's okay because I'm human. And we can only do so much in a day. But moral of the story is July has been great. I hope that you all have had a good month as we wrap up the month and this episode comes out probably the 1st of August. We're still, at the end of July. I did a nourishment walk with and the table. And for those of you who might have listened, if not, I will include the link in the episode description. I interviewed a old friend from that I went to college with who now has her own company and she lives in Amsterdam and the company is called And the Table. It's an amazing platform that brings women together through food and conversation and it is all around the world. So you don't have to be in Amsterdam to join the community. I'll link to it in my show notes, but she does a nourishment walk, and this is the second walk that she's done, and it is international, so anyone can join. It's targeted more towards people who identify as a woman and women. So no offense to the men out there, but I'm not 100% sure how that works. And we'll include a link to the website so you can check it out if you're interested. But this nourishment walk is international. It was, I want to say, less than $25 to participate. And so great. It was a guided audio walk, and there were people who joined from around the world. So that was like cool to connect with women in a different way. But I really loved the connecting with women from around the world aspect of it. And I talked to people in Berlin, Amsterdam, and Seattle. So the gist of it was you join this audio walk at the beginning and it's a Zoom link, your camera on. It was 7 a.m. my time, my Pacific time, because the time is set that it could work for really anyone around the world, which I love. And while that's early, it is also so peaceful at that time. And it was the perfect way to start my day. So I can only imagine that if I was anywhere else in the world, like it would be such a great hour and a half, like way just an hour and a half in your day that has a larger impact on you. So there was a audio guided walk for part of it, and a few after, I want to say maybe 15 minutes at most, but less than that. After that, we go camera off, and you're just listening to the host that's guiding it. There was a focus on friendship for this one, and so there was time to reflect on my friendships and also myself. So really loved it and enjoyed it. I did it outside, walked around my neighborhood, and I highly encourage anyone to consider consider it next year. I think there's one a year. She may be doing more. There is one that's in Amsterdam as well if you find yourself in Amsterdam or visiting. So check out the show notes. You can also join a table, which is the food part and still conversation. And those are around the world and throughout different cities. So last thing is that there's recently a membership opportunity to be a regular, and there's great perks that come with that, which are one of the, I think, 1 to 2 walks that they may be planning to do more. So I have been trying out being a regular because my friend was so gracious to give me a free trial since, she's been supporting the cause since day one. And I also really love what she's doing and believe in it. I think it's amazing that she's bringing women together from around the world. I'm glad that I got to meet some really cool people during this. So the Nourishment Walk within the table, it was a memorable experience. And I feel like, well, I know I definitely, and I will definitely be doing more of them. And I can't wait to do one in Amsterdam one day. So, friendship and belonging, that was what we were talking about and reflecting on, got me in my feels and in my thoughts, which I think is a good thing sometimes because I can be so on the go. And I'm sure most of you who are listening can relate that life is always on the go lately. And it is nice to take a beat, reflect, have a moment to ourselves. And that launched me into a comedy special feels. I get in these moods, and my boyfriend does too. And he loves watching comedy as well. So someone will put on a show. I'm gonna give him credit. Sometimes it's him that's putting on these interview shows or comedy specials, and they are just so great. So I wanted to share a few people that I admire that are either good comedians and storytellers. And I really appreciate that they're intentional with their words and their actions as a comedian, but also as a person. And they're creating content that makes people, in my opinion, feel seen and brings good vibes. So I admire them for that. And it's something that I have in the back of my mind when I record, is really wanting to make content that makes people feel seen and also brings good vibe and positivity into the world, because life is a journey and we're all just taking baby steps through it. So some people that I really love, Tracy Ellis Ross, I can talk about her for days. So I'm not going to spend as much time on her because I have fangirled for her throughout this podcast experience. Still love you though. Still love you, Tracy. And Tom Segura, that's someone that I discovered through my boyfriend. He's a comedian, hilarious, really honest, uses a lot of his real life in his comedy. So I really enjoy and appreciate that. And it's in a reflective, smart way. It's smart humor. And Kevin Hart, who I love also, I love him in his movies like Jumanji and just pretty much any movie he's in. But I discovered the show Heart to Heart, and that is a show where he interviews people and has like conversations with them over wine. It is so good, such a vibe, and it's essentially a talk show. So and that's on Peacock. I watched his interview with Tracy Ellis Ross because I love her, as if you can't tell by now in this episode, the fact that that was the first episode I watched. And then my boyfriend and I were watching his interview with Jay-Z, but we haven't finished that. But from 1.5 episodes in, it is really compelling content. And he has this natural way of talking to people that he's interviewing that feels like it's two people literally just shooting the shit, having a conversation, but saying things that, for me, at least as someone who's trying to tap into their creative side more and do things that bring good things into my life and fill my cup up and help mold me into this more ideal version of me that I'm trying to become. It's inspiring. So if you can get down with content like that, highly recommend you check out Heart to Heart. And it's spelled Heart, HARTTO, Heart, HERT, like, the heartbeat. that's in our bodies. So it's catchy, but check it out. Michelle Buteau is another comedian who I love. And I first caught wind of her in Someone Great, which is a movie that came out in 2019 with Gina Rodriguez was one of the stars. My voice is cracking. We're going to keep going because I also would like to, I'm going to eat dinner soon. And Gina Rodriguez, she was in a scene at the beginning with Michelle Buteau. That was a very small scene, but it was so impactful. Her presence, her delivery, her everything was drew me in immediately. So shout out to both of them as badass women, and Gina Rodriguez as well, talented Latina. I fell in love with her when I watched Jane the Virgin ages ago. She is so talented, and they're both so talented. Both of these women are on my dream list of people to interview one day because I admire them as people and that they are making this world a more inclusive space because they are taking on projects and doing things that are inclusive of everyone versus the latter. And I like that because I think we need more of that in this world. So adding them to my dream list of people to interview one day. Really, people on this list are people giving back to their communities and making this world a better place. And there are lots of women on that list. There are men on that list too, but lots of women because women run the world. To round up the list of people is Marcelo Hernandez. He's on SNL, and I'm going to credit my boyfriend for putting him on my radar. He was in this a sketch with Pedro Pascal, and it was the like Mexican mother son relationship. It was about a year ago, so I'll include the link in the show notes and description in case you want to watch it. But he was really good in that, so that's what caught my eye. He is going to be coming through my city soon in August at the Ontario Improv. So we're gonna snag tickets and go see him with my boyfriend and potentially my cousins. But it should be a good time. I can't wait to see him live. It's been a minute since I've seen a comedy show live in person, so I'm really excited just for that. And I know he'll be funny. So those are some people to check out and people that are really great comedians and storytellers. And I love comedy. There's something about watching a comedy special that makes you laugh, makes you feel good, and also makes you think about things. I think those are the best ones. That they put some thoughts in your head and they bring you new perspectives in good ways. So that is it for July. And I have some more TV and movie recs coming in the next episode. But if you haven't watched Deadpool and Wolverine yet, check it out. It was so good. It was so good. I will give more of a recap in the next episode, but it was so good. I'm not going to give you any spoilers now. But Ryan Reynolds was a comic book nerd and it still is and loved Deadpool. So I think that's fun. And he was so involved in this movie. I've learned so much from my boyfriend because he loves all things Marvel and especially this movie. So it's one of his favorite movies. Check it out. I love you all. Thank you so much for listening and helping me grow. Can't wait to be back next week.
Music and editing done by Marco. You can find him at midnight, MIDNITE_mind80 on Instagram for more of his work.